Good morning to you, and welcome on in to Monday, January 5th. Hope you're doing well. Joan, this is great. We've got like two big stories today.
Huge. This has been the most lovely news time in my life.
It has. Now, I don't know what is more pleasing to report. You know, Maduro going down, clearly a big story. Mm-hmm. Or the fact that it looks like Governor Tim Walz is going to be dropping out of his reelection bid.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? The bad guys lose in the end. Can we just say that? The bad guys lose in the end.
They do. They do.
It's because they end up in hell.
That's exactly right. So real quick, so the Tim Walz thing is more breaking news than the Maduro thing, but although I've got all of the Maduro stuff you'll ever want to know, trust me. By the way, it's great to be back on Nashville's Morning News.
Yeah, welcome
it's
back,
been,
Dan.
Forever since I feel like I've been back on my morning show. So
Sam and I have been sitting around waiting for you to return to us.
Oh, I'm sure that you have. No, it is nice to be back. Okay, that's kind of silly, but okay, very good. Was that Sam or was that Joan?
Oh, that was Sam, totally.
Was that Sam? Okay, very good. I figured it was Sam with the goofy, corny sound effects. Hey, look, I'm back. Anyway, real quick. So it does look like, is it 11 o'clock our time, Joan, that we are going to hear from Governor Tim Walz?
I think it is 11 o'clock our time.
And, you know, my favorite, and Sam, you quoted it this morning. We all know what Governor Tim Walz, what his favorite proclamation was a while ago.
White men need to take accountability for their actions.
Remember that, Joan, when he said white men need to take accountability for their actions? Mm-hmm. Well, you know what, Tim? You shanked the governorship and you proved yourself as corrupt as everyone thought you were. So now you're going bye-bye. So Tim Walz, and it's funny because the press release said that he was going to talk about the news of the day, but everybody is reporting that he's about to step down. But here's the thing. Here's my question. If you did nothing wrong, I would say to Tim Walz, if you did nothing wrong, like you've been telling people for the past many months since we found out about this Somali fraud, well, then why is it that you're stepping down if you did nothing wrong? So anyway, that is a big story today. We have, of course, Maduro being perp-walked. Now, Joan, you and I were trying to figure out real quickly, and Fox News has the video of him being slowly perp-walked. What is that on his head?
That's what I asked. I thought maybe it's like a tarnished Burger King crown.
You know what it looks like? And I wish I had the picture. Sam, see if you can find the picture of him or the video of him being perp-walked. It looks like a little bear cub cap. It looks like something you would put on like a 5-year-old and it's got little bear cub ears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not what it is, but I mean, I find it really interesting that he had not one, not two, but it looks like he had 3 wardrobe changes since they grabbed him out of his fortress there in Venezuela, because they have him in like all kinds of different outfits. Every time I see him, he's wearing something different. But big news, Maduro and his wife, of course. And now I don't know what's funnier, Joan, watching the leftists who are complaining that Donald Trump took out Maduro while millions of people are dancing in the streets of Venezuela. You know what I mean? And the people who fled to America, you know, you have a lot of Venezuelans in like Cuba, I should say, in Florida, and all the Venezuelans in Florida are thrilled that this happened.
All over Latin America, they're celebrating, dancing in the streets. I mean, honestly.
Yes. I mean, it's the craziest thing. So, I mean, I get that there's going to be, here's my official talk show host position on all of this. I believe that this is going to be a success, you know, trying to convert Venezuela into an oil-producing machine for everyone's benefit.
Yeah.
But we won't know for, you know, years to come how successful or disastrous this is going to be. So I have some cautious optimism that this is going to be done correctly. There's a lot of differences between, you know, what is going on in Venezuela and what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is right in our own backyard, which is one of the big topic points of conversation that I've got. So let's just go ahead and start with the content portion of the radio program, shall we? It is 5:10, Nashville's Morning News. So last night, President Trump, I don't know if you saw this, President Trump was on Air Force One, and he is being asked about a lot of things, including, by the way, what's next for Cuba. We'll get into that. But he talked about what all of this meant for the world.
It's about peace on earth.
How is it peace on earth?
Peace on earth. We got to have peace. It's our hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine was very important when it was done, and other presidents, a lot of them, they lost sight of it. I didn't lose sight. But it really is. It's peace on earth.
All right, so I get the president is going to say it's about peace on earth. To be honest with you, I'm trying not to roll my eyes. It is about peace on earth, but it is also about oil. We have federal charges against Maduro dating back to 2020 related to cocaine, narco-terrorism, trafficking, ties to designated terrorist organizations and cartels. Remember that President Trump, he's been setting this stage for quite some time. President Trump designated the drug cartels in Venezuela as terrorist organizations. You have, of course, you've got Tren de Aragua, you've got Cartel de las Solas, I believe that's how you say it, both designated back in November. And so that gave Donald Trump more authority to do what he did. You heard him mention, by the way, and you're going to hear this a lot, the Monroe Doctrine in sound bites. That goes back to 1823, and it basically is a policy to not allow European nations to expand their influences in the Western Hemisphere. That was expanded in 1904 by Teddy Roosevelt, where the U.S. would now intervene in Latin America if the leaders, and this is important, if the leaders of these individual countries were up to no good. If they couldn't manage their own affairs, we were going to jump in. They called that the Roosevelt Corollary. That meant that we could act as sort of an international police power. Bottom line on all of this, because I don't want to get mired down in all of that policy stuff, the bottom line on all this is the Western Hemisphere is ours. It is America's. It is the United States of America's. And if some of these Latin American countries are going to invite our enemies into our backyard, like China, who was there literally when all of this went down, and start messing with our country, then we're going to take you down. And I don't have a problem with that. I know that there's going to probably be some hand-wringing at some point on this station, but it's not going to be 5 to 9. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because now apparently we have the Trump corollary. Now, Maduro has destroyed Venezuela. That's part of this conversation. He has been partnering and working with Russia. He's been working with China. He's been working with Iran. Our enemies, all three, our enemies. Venezuela is clearly a socialist mess. And so for President Trump, he's looking at Venezuela, the amount of oil. I'm going to get into the amount of oil that Venezuela has. Oh, my goodness gracious. Like the amount of oil that Venezuela has, it's more than our GDP. I mean, that's how much oil Venezuela has. And clearly, under Maduro, they were underperforming, to say the least, on their oil production. So we're going to get to that and a whole lot more straight ahead, 5:15. Now, I guess they're calling, am I saying this right, Joan and Sam? The Monroe Doctrine?
Donroe.
Donroe Doctrine? Okay.
Yeah.
So pure Trump. I mean, that is Trump to its core. This is the president talking about the Monroe Doctrine.
All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries, and not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines, and the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Donroe Document. I don't know. It's
this man, he has got to put his name on everything.
Monroe Doctrine.
So that is President Trump talking about the Donroe Doctrine. Used to be called the Monroe Doctrine, and now he has expanded it big time. And I do understand what the reasoning behind this. You're talking about Venezuela. Obviously, everybody knows that they've been sending drugs our way for a long time. We've been blowing up their drug boats. We've been absconding with some of their ships that were trying to sell and trying to transport sanctioned oil. So this is something that needed to happen, honestly, for Venezuela's own good. And we are seeing millions of people across Latin America out in celebration, because what this ultimately means is that Venezuela, obviously, number one, out of the clutches of a dictator, that's number one. But number two, this means that the people of Venezuela, they may be able to go work. They'll be able to buy things at a grocery store. They'll be able to function as a country. Because right now, as you know, Venezuela, I mean, if you've been listening to, talk radio and you've been paying attention to what's going on there, I mean, it is, as I said before, it is a mess, absolute mess. And so you've got a dictator who has just, and by the way, he lost the election a couple of years ago. And so he's been basically staying in power, even though the rest of the world understands that he did lose that election and he just wouldn't leave. That's all part of the sanctions that Joe Biden had placed on him. But here's the thing, is that the sanctions were not nearly strong enough. We'll get into that as well. Marco Rubio, of course, Secretary of State, has been talking about this.
We are not going to be able to allow in our hemisphere a country that becomes a crossroads for the activities of all of our adversaries around the world. We just can't allow it. We can't have a country where the people in charge of its military and in charge of its police department are openly cooperating with drug trafficking organizations.
Right.
We're not going to allow that. These things are direct threats to the United States, and we intend to use every element of leverage that we have to ensure that that changes.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of things about this strike that were amazing as far as the timing goes. As I said previous, China was actually there to meet with Maduro the very next day. So they were probably, if you think about this, they were probably waiting at their hotel for the meeting the next day when they saw the military strike happen. I love that. Right now, Iran is in total chaos. The people of Iran are rebelling. They're protesting in the streets against their government. So this doesn't help Iran at all. And again, remember that Venezuela, they have been selling oil to China. They've been partnering with Iran. They've been partnering with Russia as well. And so that's what Trump means. That's what Marco Rubio means. When you're inviting our enemies into our backyard, well, we've got a problem with that. Now, the ultimate question is this for the oil? I mean, I'm going to say yes. But I'm not saying that as far as a negative goes. I understand what we're trying to do. You can say, I know that there's going to be all these people, oh, no blood for oil, no blood for oil. First of all, if we can get Venezuela to be a more productive country where it is not a crime-ridden, drug-ridden, socialist mess, then that's better for everybody. And by the way, here's the other thing. We had the Iran strike, right, where we took out their capabilities, their military capabilities. So we had that strike. That was an incredible strike. Now, the mission to capture Maduro was also flawless. You don't think that, especially after the absolute train wreck that was Joe Biden and the pullout of Afghanistan, this has been, far as the first year of Donald Trump's administration, it has been one for the ages militarily. It is incredible. Hey, coming up at 5:35, Joan, I know that you are going to particularly love what I have planned for 5:35.
Oh, I can't wait.
Number one, we're going to, as millions are taking to the streets in celebration, I'm going to play some of the left as they were actually getting, believe it or not, eviscerated on some of the Sunday shows because of their hypocrisy. Because you have some of these folks, and I forget exactly who I have lined up, but one of them is Tim Kaine. And so believe it or not, some of the Sunday morning news anchors are calling them out. It's like, look, you're calling out Trump on social media and here on the show, yet, you were calling out Trump back in 2020 when Maduro was still in power and Trump didn't take him out then. And also, let's not forget that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had a $25 million, basically a bounty on the head of Maduro. And so now you got Kamala Harris out there, and she's criticizing Donald Trump for arresting Maduro, even though she was part of the administration that wanted a $25 million bounty on his head or leading to his arrest. So the hypocrisy, it is just so incredibly... I don't even get mad anymore. I just think it's funny. Anyway, so President Trump talking about what is going on with the oil and, you know, all the people, again, as I said in the previous segment, all these people are going to start, oh, no blood for oil. And, you know, literally, it is about the oil, among other things.
As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping.
See, that's the point. Maduro, as a, you know, socialist and a strong man and all of these other things, he was horribly incompetent. Venezuela has something like 300 billion barrels in the ground. They're saying it is the largest reserves of oil in the world, but they only produce like 1% of global production. It could be a lot more than that. So basically, Donald Trump, what he's saying is, yeah, it's about the oil. We're going to go in with our oil companies. We're going to repair their infrastructure, and we're going to start pumping lots of oil. And you know what? Yeah, we're going to sell it. And we're going to make Venezuela great again, is what the president says.
And what could have taken place? We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if this partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, look at what our oil companies will be able to do, and look what they will be able to accomplish. Now, right now, from what I understand, Chevron is heavily involved here. They are the only American oil company right now still in Venezuela. So this is going to be a huge investment for our oil companies to get involved. But they need to go in there. They need to make the investments necessary to start producing. So they've got to go in, as you just heard President Trump say, and they've got to fix the oil infrastructure. But then essentially the people, the millions of people that are celebrating across Latin America, and especially the people in Venezuela, they're looking at this as an opportunity for them to actually start to be able to earn a living, work, have food in the grocery stores, because Trump is saying this is going to go to the people of Venezuela. It's going to go to the oil companies so that they can get their investments back. And it's going to, I guess what the president is saying, and Marco Rubio said it too, is that there's people that are here in America who had to flee Venezuela, who lost everything. And those people apparently may get paid back as well. So there's a lot here. Can I just say how nice it is to be back amongst Joan and Sam?
Aw.
I have missed you two immensely. I've missed the WTN audience immensely. I haven't been on the station since what was it, like Christmas Eve?
Yeah,
I think it was.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. So, you know, what did I do on my Christmas break? A lot of fill in. I was on Red Eye Radio. I filled in for Eric Erickson. He's got a network too. And I did one local show. Joan, one local show. I was on two networks and one local show. The mighty WSB in Atlanta. That was a bucket list. You know, I'm such a radio nerd. This is how much I still love radio, is that I have bucket list radio stations that I want to do fill in on. It's not about the money. It's about, you know, being able to do a show on some of these stations that I've long admired as a radio nerd. And WSB is one of those, Joan.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't shake it either. That was the important part. I didn't screw up. just came really close, but I didn't screw up. I almost said Nashville's Morning News on WSB one time, but I didn't.
Those are those kind
I
of things you
caught
have to put
myself.
on little cards in front of yourself so you don't screw up.
You know what? I could be completely surrounded by cards, and I'd still shank. All right. So real quick, did you have a nice Christmas?
We did. We had a super nice Christmas and New Year's, and actually my kids are coming in town. The ones that still live in Maryland, they're in town at the end of the week, and so we get to hang out all weekend long, which is really nice.
Nice. And how about you, Sam?
It was wonderful. Santa spoiled me, and then New Year's Eve was just magical. Just me and the missus decompressing from all the running around and kowtowing to family members.
Man, my New Year's Eve was off the hook.
You did nothing.
Nope. Went to bed at like 10 o'clock.
I think I might have made it till about 10. Yep.
Exactly. All right, real quick. Sam got this really cool thing, and then we're going to get into some funny stuff with Democrats. Sam got this thing, and it is called President Predicto. So why don't you describe what this is, and then we're going to ask President Predicto, i.e. Donald Trump, a question about our futures, and we'll we'll see what President Trump has to say about our futures. But what is this thing?
So we do a Dirty Santa in my family, and my brother grabbed that, and then because it was attached to lottery tickets, so he then gave me the orb, which is like a magic 8-ball, except you rub it, and Donald Trump will answer your yes or no question in one of 25 ways.
All right, so I'm going to go first. Will I still be with WTN on this date in 2027?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
All right. So, Joan, what's your question real quick?
I think I need to ask the same thing. Will I still be with this radio station at this date next year?
I would say maybe.
Okay. Well, thanks, Don.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right, real quick, Sam.
Will I be done growing this year?
Well, you got to be more specific. You talk about height, you're talking about,
Oh, yeah.
Cupcakes.
Physically.
Physically. Here we go.
Not even a little bit. Not even 1%.
Wow. You're gonna be a big boy, Sam.
Yeah.
All right, you want to hear the Democrats as they try and call. One of the things I liked about the whole Maduro thing is that there was a big headline. You'll love this. There's a big headline where Republicans are calling out Donald Trump, right? You know who they quote? Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Of course they do.
Come on.
It's like asking Adam Kinzinger if January 6th happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So you've got Hakeem Jeffries is on with Kirsten Welker. And like I said in the open, so you've got the anchors of the Sunday morning shows, and they're actually calling out the Democrats for their hypocrisy. This is Kirsten Welker with Hakeem Jeffries, and he doesn't really recover very well. Listen to this.
They have to start with the capture and indictment of Venezuelan President Nicholas Maduro. You have called him a, quote, criminal and authoritarian dictator who has oppressed the people of Venezuela for years. Is Venezuela better off without Nicolas Maduro in power?
Well, he's a bad guy, of course, and he's going to stand trial in an American court of law at this particular point in time. It remains to be seen whether the people of Venezuela are going to be better off. Donald Trump claims that he's going to run Venezuela. He's done a terrible job running the United States of America.
You see the pivot? You see, like he it's like you look for that pivot point, and then you pivot to the criticism of Donald Trump, which, seems to me, obviously, Hakeem Jeffries is deflecting.
Life hasn't gotten better for the American people over the last year. Life has gotten worse. He promised to lower the high cost of living. Costs haven't gone down. They've gone up. The healthcare system is broken. Donald Trump refuses to do anything about it to address the Republican healthcare crisis. So the notion that he's going to run Venezuela and make life better for the Venezuelan people, of course, is belied by the facts as to what he's done as president here in the United States of America.
What chump. So obviously, Donald Trump has made our streets safer. Crime is down big time. The economy is getting better. I don't know what else to tell you. The economy is getting better. There's still work to be done, but the economy is getting better. Prices are going down. Inflation is going down. Gas prices continue to go down, and what we're doing in Venezuela is going to certainly help that. Trump obviously has stopped wars and conflicts, and I think the mission to grab Maduro and the Iranian attack were both incredible feats of military strength. Remember, it's all about showing strength, peace through strength. So it does seem to me like Hakeem is just, spewing the company line. Here's another one. Senator Tim Kaine. And again, remember, as all of this is going on, you have the Democrats, as you've got all these people that are in the streets of Venezuela and also really across the country where you have big populations of Venezuelans who have fled Venezuela to come here. They're all dancing in the streets. And the Democrats, they just can't help themselves. This got a little awkward for Tim Kaine.
I think a lot of Republicans would dispute, the notion that this was an invasion at all. But moreover, if Democrats cared so much about process, why didn't they do anything to bring Maduro to justice when they were in charge? I mean, the guy's been under indictment since 2020.
There have been sanctions placed against Venezuela, and I'll admit the sanctions have not been as effective as they might have been. And you know why, Jackie? Because many other nations wouldn't join us in the sanctions, even though they've joined us in sanctions against other nations. And why wouldn't they? They didn't like the President Trump, in his first term, threatening military action against Venezuela. And that caused them to back off support for sanctions. So sanctions and going into international forums and trade restrictions and embargoes and seizing vessels that are pursuant to sanction with a court order, these are things that can work. It's a lot better if you have your allies with us. What we've done now is push our allies away, and we've opened up.
I love how she's like, this is Jackie Heinrich on Fox. So it's our allies' fault that the sanctions didn't work? Remember that Joe Biden, and this is important, remember that Joe Biden allowed those, just like the Iranian sanctions, the Venezuelan sanctions to be eased as well throughout his presidency. 2022 and 2023, Joe Biden allowed Maduro to skip out on those sanctions because Maduro promised to hold legit elections. But Maduro did not hold legit elections. He lost, and yet he was still in power. They said that they would hold free and fair elections. So basically what Biden, and I remember talking about this. So Biden said in 22 and 23, we are going to, ease up on these sanctions because you're saying that you are going to hold free and fair elections. Clearly that didn't happen. Maduro lost, but again, he stayed in power. So for a couple of years, Joe Biden eased up on those sanctions and allowed Maduro some breathing room. Those sanctions were placed on Maduro by Donald Trump. So Tim Kaine, he has no clue as to what he's talking about. Biden eased the sanctions for a couple of years, and that led Maduro to be even more of a dictator than he already was.
I mean, I think the point I'm getting to, sir, the point I'm getting to is, don't you think that America's adversaries take note when all Democrats can muster is a joint statement or a press conference or some sanctions that are, loose, and take advantage of that? And that's why the administration feels
Jackie,
positioned to do this now?
If you think it's right for a president just on his own say-so, willy-nilly to wage war against anybody, I guess that's an opinion.
You know what the dumb thing is? Like, can I just say this? One word, Obama, right? I mean, that's all you got to say. Obama with his drones. So all of the, I'm going to have Congressman Tim Burchett on at 6:36. So that'll be, of course, one of the first questions that I ask Congressman Burchett is about the legal authority and the Democrats complaining about all of this. But the reality is that Donald Trump has every legal authority to do this. This is what the Democrats do. They whine and moan and complain, and they don't really, you know what it is? It's like a snarky Southern bless your heart. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to say to Tim Kaine. Here's more.
But why haven't Republicans brought forth a military authorization? Why are they ducking votes
Would you vote for
on
that?
whether this is a wise strategy? I'd vote against it. I think another war, Virginia, which is a very pro-military state, and I'm the father of a Marine, Virginians are tired of endless wars, and we don't want to engage in military action that's unnecessary.
Well,
Knucklehead. You know what? How much complaining did the Democrats do about the United States being kept safe when there was a huge balloon flying across the entire United States and Joe Biden
let it
did
happen?
zero? He did zero about keeping us safe from that.
They had nothing to say. And Biden didn't do diddly or squat.
Right.
Joe Biden, I don't know. I think he may have been the weakest president we've ever had. I mean, maybe I'm thinking, like recency bias. But, I mean, Biden was just a complete and utter joke.
Yeah.
But, to Tim Kaine's point, that mission, we were in and out in, what was it? What did you tell me before?
It was like 2.5 or 3 hours.
The mission itself, landing, getting Maduro out.
Once they got to the doors.
Yeah, once they got to the doors.
The internet's saying that it took them like 6.5 minutes to get him in and out of the house.
Oh, yeah, that part, yeah.
I mean, he tried to get to the steel doors. And Trump was like, we had welding equipment, or not welding equipment, but whatever it was to, get through the steel doors. And, we went in and out. And by the way, I'm cautious. I don't know if I've said this yet. I'm cautiously optimistic that we have done the right thing. You never really know what's going to happen until years down the road to see how looking back. But I am cautiously optimistic on this. I see Trump's vision. I see Trump's plan. Now, the question is, they've got to have a legit election. That's number one. And number two is I do believe that Donald Trump did make a mistake when he kind of dismissed, what's her name?
Machado.
I thought that Trump made a mistake when he dismissed Machado, the woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize, and she basically dedicated it to Donald Trump. Yeah. She is the opposition leader against Maduro, and Trump basically dismissed her when somebody suggested.
He said she doesn't have the respect of the people. She doesn't have the respect of the military.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But
he may know something we don't.
Maybe he does.
Yeah.
But I think that, personally speaking, I think he should have showed her a little bit more respect. Now, this is great. You've got Jen Psaki, and she's got John Brennan, right? John Brennan, this is on MS Now. And so John Brennan, he is like Donald Trump hater number one, right? We all know that. And I hate John Brennan with a passion. But she tees him up to come out swinging against Donald Trump, and listen to how this ended up going.
The events of the last 24 hours here.
Well, John, I thought you did a very good job teeing this up. First of all, again, the U.S. military and U.S. intelligence are second to none in terms of their capabilities, their competence, talent, as well as their courageous actions. And so it does look as though it was a flawlessly executed operation, at least according to what we hear from the administration so far.
Yep.
And a lot of planning went into that. But that was, I don't want to say it's the easy part, because it was a sort of a complex operation. But this happened less than 24 hours ago. Now the big question is, what is the impact of that action? I think there are a lot of people in Venezuela and outside who are celebrating the departure of Maduro. She pointed out he was an illegitimately installed leader, a dictator of Venezuela. He was involved in drug running for a number of years. He's been involved in a lot of, criminal activity. And so, yes, it's good that he is no longer in charge. But the big question is, what is going to happen now after this?
Yeah, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But you'll notice that it didn't sound like he had anything really negative to say about the operation at all. It is a big question. What is going to happen next? And we'll talk to Congressman Tim Burchett about that coming up at 6:36. 7:36, our buddy Hans von Spakovsky is going to talk about the legalities of all of this. And at 8:06, we've got Brian Wilson teed up and ready to go. He's got some commentary as well. Very busy morning. Are we in delay, Sam? Make sure we're in delay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm going to do something I shouldn't do. But I'm watching this video. Somebody sent it to me. Thank you. And it's a bunch of Democrats And they're out there, of course, protesting Trump, arresting Maduro, right? So the question is, now knowing what we know about Maduro, and I've spent the last hour talking about this, knowing what we know about Maduro, somebody goes out and asks these Democrats that are out there with their little picket signs, would you trade Maduro for Donald Trump? Now realize Maduro has killed people, he's imprisoned people, he's taken away their rights, he's absconded with their property and their money. People have fled the country of Venezuela because Maduro is so bad. Listen to what these Democrats say.
Would you trade Trump for Maduro?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I think Trump, I think Maduro was democratically elected.
Probably, yeah. Sure.
More than likely, yes, of course.
If there's a Nicholas Maduro out here who's going to bring us to revolution, I will support that move.
Sure.
I would rather have a bus driver in charge than a billionaire, okay? Let's put it that way.
Nicholas Maduro could come and be our president?
Yeah.
Oh, any day.
Wow.
Any day. Look, all the check marks are there. He's not white. Okay, he's a minority. Okay. He looks a little too much like Saddam Hussein, though.
This is the
These
mentality.
People are insane.
Do you know that there's a certain contingent of our society that is it wrong, Joan? I've just given up on some people. Like, is that wrong to just give up on some people? No. Like, there are some people that, honest to goodness, I've stopped caring what they say. I don't care what they have to say because they are brain dead. And it is my opinion, pro-Hamas people, people like this. Oh, sure, I'd much rather have Maduro than Donald Trump. They're lacking in any
They're the
reasoning.
Same people that voted for Mamdani in New York.
You're exactly
Honestly.
right. You're exactly right, Joan. Right, it is 6 o'clock. Remember, we have Congressman Tim Burchett. He is coming up at 6:36. 7:36, Hans von Spakovsky will be joining us to talk about the legalities of all of this and a whole lot more.